Hello and welcome to the next episode of Estate Agency Entrepreneurs. And today I'm joined by one of the superstar agents of EXP, Mr. Craig Stephens. Welcome, Craig.
Hello.
You all right? Doing all right?
Very good, thank you.
Enjoy your trip to the centre of the universe?
It took me about 2 hours down the motorway, so a lot longer than what I thought.
But whereabouts are you based?
In Leicester.
Okay. How long have you been there? You've been born and bred, trained?
Not born and bred, but I've been there since I was about 13 years old. So long enough to know the area very, very well.
Good.
So I class myself as pretty much a Leicester guy.
Yeah, good. And always done estate agency. What's your background?
No, I was a travel agent. So left school, went to college. After that, ended up traveling the world for a year doing the backpacking thing that was very cool back then. And went into travel agency. I was a holiday rep for 4 years, which you wouldn't be allowed to do that now, which is why as soon
Where
as
was that?
Magaluf, Kavos.
One of those holiday reps.
Yeah, one of those holiday reps.
Yeah.
So hence when social media came out and everything else, those companies pretty much closed down. So holiday rep, worked for First Choice Holidays for 4 years, came back, worked in the UK selling cruises. And then when that company didn't really take off, I thought, look, actually I fancy estate agency. So
what was appealing about it?
Weirdly, and I don't know if other people in sales kind of have this, but I always kind of wanted to either work in travel, car sales, kind of recruitment or property. And when you're in sales, it's just, you're looking for kind of big transactions and things. And I thought, actually, I quite fancy, either car sales or the property market. Applied for a couple of positions and luckily got a job on the high street in Leicester.
Tell us about that. Where was that? What was that doing?
We're allowed to say the names?
Yeah, well, if you're comfortable with it.
So I got a job for William H. Brown.
Okay.
So started on the high street in Leicester. It was, to be fair, brilliant training. Started the ropes pretty much as virtually a T-boy. Don't touch the phones for the first 2 weeks, just listen. But the training was really good. Within, I think, 6 months of being there, they sent me out as a trainee valuer. Really liked that, and I was quite lucky. I because I'd done sales for a few years already, took to it like a duck to water, which was great. So within 2 years, I was employee of the year. Got promoted to manager of the year, and took off a little office just outside Leicester in Oadby. And
was that a fresh start, or was that taken over from someone else?
It was an underperforming office.
Okay.
And we took it over and turned it into the highest profit office in the region.
Okay, so tell us how you did that. I mean, I know we're talking about your business and how you started as a self-employed agent, but how that gave you a huge, a brilliant grounding for, I guess, starting up on your own. How did you turn around an underperforming office, sort of the basic?
Main things, motivating the team to start with. There's the team weren't that motivated. They weren't making a lot of commission because obviously they weren't getting a lot of sales. So like everything, I think the first thing starts with getting valuations and getting the listings on the board. So, in those jobs that you don't have, it was a little office. So I was the manager and the lister. I had one negotiator and one admin girl part-time. And we went out and I was doing all the listings and luckily started taking a few more listings than the previous managers had. So the stock started building. Sales staff started getting a bit more excited that they were selling more houses. Their paychecks started getting bigger with commission. And it just snowballed. So the more listings we got, I approached William H. Brown and asked if I could get another negotiator to help me. We hired another negotiator, and so it just kind of took off.
And going back to that first, where did those valuations come from? I mean, what were your strategies for getting those valuations?
Leaflet dropping, loads of it. I mean, you're going back, I started 21 years ago, so you're kind of talking probably 19 years ago since I went into that office. So one of the biggest things was leaflet dropping, and the newspaper was huge. So on all my valuations, I was winning a lot of the business by promoting that we had the most newspaper advertising out of all the local estate agents. And I was pointing that out and asking them, where they would like to feature in the paper, when they would like to feature in the paper, and making a big song and dance about their advert in the paper, which then won us a lot more listings. And pointing out that a lot of the other agents, their newspaper advertising was split between maybe 6 or 7 offices. So 6 or 7 offices were advertising on one page, where we only had 2 offices advertising on one page. So they were likely to be in the paper more often. And then, as I said, we grew the listings. And then by growing those listings and doing 2020 leaflet drops and building the confidence in the village, it just snowballed.
So just good old fashioned estate agency.
Yeah, because back then there wasn't, you couldn't jump on Facebook and there wasn't any social media. It was walking the streets, asking sellers if they knew anyone else that would happily recommend us. And good old fashioned estate agency, really. Yeah.
I remember the days. Yeah, black and white adverts, newspaper adverts. I remember back in 1997. Shows my age, doesn't it? But
taking the photos, actually, that was another one where we won a lot of business. Taking the photos and making sure you kind of highlighted them, and there wasn't things that, all these like property boxes and box brownies and all these websites you could kind of use to put blue skies over. You had to kind of manually do these things. And making sure your photos look better than everyone else, that kind of caught people's attention.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good. And so William H. Brown, brilliant company, part of the Connors Group. And so fast forward, what was your next move after that?
So I loved my time at William H. Brown, to be fair. No complaints there, absolutely loved it. But it was just time to move on. So I took the office to about as far as I could take it and thought, look, where else can I go? My director at the time was about 10 years older than me, and I had a great relationship with him, but I thought he's not going anywhere. And so look, where else can I go? And a guy who I used to work with, William H. Brown, he'd ended up leaving William H. Brown and he took on a franchise, Newton Fallowell franchise. So a lot of people that don't know Newton Fallowell, though, now they're part of Belvoir.
Good company.
Yeah, so massive company now. At the time, they probably had about 30 branches. And he had an office. And he said, Craig, do you fancy meeting up for a coffee? Met him up. He turned up in his £80,000 Jaguar, which I used to work with him, and he'd have a little 20 grand banger. And turned up in his £80,000 Jaguar. Met him at his house, in about his £500,000 house. And I was thinking, right, how have you gone from when I last met you, earning, basic manager wages, to now driving an £80,000 car, living in a £500,000 house? And he said he had already had 4 buy-to-let properties now as well. And I thought, wow, okay, how do I get part of that? So that was what kind of intrigued me. And he said, look, I've took this franchise on, Newton Fallowell, look, it's yours. You can't mix with the brand. It's the brand colours, the brand font and all this, but you run your own business. You hire people, you fire people, you do the marketing, you're in charge of it. A bit like kind of what I do now. But and that grabbed my attention. And the fact that you could make a lot more money, it just got me really enthusiastic. So I ended up taking on an office.
Excellent. So the 30 that Newton Fallowell had at the time, they were all franchises, were they?
All franchises apart from one, yeah.
Okay. And so how much did it cost to buy into that franchise, if you don't mind me asking?
So luckily, the franchise that they had on offer had just lost, someone hadn't performed very well. They lost a lot of money and they'd given it back to Newton Fallowell. And Newton Fallowell, that office lost £70,000 that year. So they wanted about 60 grand for it. We negotiated back and forth, and then they wanted 50 grand for it, and I came back to say, I'll take it for nothing. So it was a bit of going back and forth, and they were saying, well, hang on, you want it for nothing? I said, well, you just give me the keys. The first day you give me the keys, you're saving money. You've just lost £70,000, so it's not worth anything. So I'll take it off your hands for nothing, and you've saved money from day one. I'll take on all the risk. You lost 70 grand last year. And they went, okay, but it's got 25 grand pipeline. I said, yeah, I want that as well, because that has to work, and I want the stock. And so literally, I was quite lucky. I took it all for nothing.
Wow.
So it didn't cost me anything. I had about 10 grand to my name at the time. So I put all 10 grand into a business account. It had to work, otherwise I was going to be bankrupt, because that was all I had. Put 10 grand in, worked 7 days a week for 4 months. Just
doing what?
Valuations, shouting to the world. I do valuations 7 days a week, viewing 7 days a week. Everything to try and make sure that we could sell some houses and get some pipeline in.
When was this?
So this is going back. So hang on, going back probably maybe 15 years.
Okay.
So about 15 years.
Just after the crash.
Yeah, so it was 2008, so it was about 2009, something like that.
Tough market. That was still a tough market.
It was a tough market, and it was in Melton Mowbray as well, which if anyone knows Melton Mowbray is in like the middle of nowhere. So at the time, probably the only people that bought houses were the people in Melton Mowbray. So, you know, your market was quite tight. We hired someone to work on a Sunday, and at the time there was hardly any estate agents open on Sundays. So we wanted to promote that we were, again, available 7 days a week. And yeah, bit by bit, that kind of, the sales came, or listings came off the back of it. But we turned it around in the first year, we made 25 grand profit. So from a 70 grand loss making office to a 25 grand profit making office within 12 months.
Excellent. And what happened with that business? How long did you have that? What did that?
So
did you sell that on?
Yeah, so we grew it. I opened a lettings franchise. Had nothing to do with, never knew anything about lettings. So I started doing some BTEC courses and things like that to learn about lettings. So we grew lettings. We managed about 200 houses by the time I sold the business. I bought another Newton Fallowell franchise, which is in Leicester in Syston. And the business was going really well. I took on a Fine and Country franchise as well. So I had that for 2 years. So the Newton Fallowell, I suppose, journey lasted 6 years. And then Belvoir bought it out. And as big as Belvoir are, they're obviously a big corporate company. They were a lot more stricter on what you could do with marketing and everything else. And I felt like at the time it was probably taking some of the essence away from what I wanted to do. You know, I felt I wanted to be my own boss and not be kind of really managed. You know, that wasn't the reason why I took the franchises on. So decided to put them all for sale. Sold them all. Wanted to take a year off because obviously exhausting having those offices, because at the time I had 12 members of staff. Our outgoings were about 40 grand a month. So it was a hefty. So I went from having no grey hair to a lot of grey hair within 6 years. Went to take a year off, and within 2 weeks I was working at Purple Bricks.
Right, okay. So just before we get into Purple Bricks a bit, how did that, when you got 12 staff and 40 grand a month of costs, how does that make you feel?
It's strange, because it's kind of the more success you have, the more kind of anxiety you get. You kind of like make a rod for your own back, because you want to go out there and you want to make more money and you want to list more houses and you want to grow your business. But yeah, you have to keep taking two steps back all the time to go forward, because every time we would hire another member of staff, that'd be another big salary come in, and then I'd have to, get another couple of sales every month to pay for that person. You would catch up and then you'd get too busy again, so I had to hire someone else. So look, it was good, and it kind of, I suppose, it made me feed your ego a bit, which is good, that, because you're in sales and you want to do well, and I had 3 offices or 3 franchises, 12 members of staff, but the anxiety looking in your bank, if you looked in your bank account, it looked like you're quite wealthy, but actually when there's 40 grand of outgoings every month, you kind of start thinking, crikey, if there was a recession again, because I'd gone through the recession, or something happened in the market and sales nosedive, there isn't many months that you can handle, and then you start thinking, actually, I've got 12 people's lives in my hand, their financial ability. So it's
a strange feeling, isn't it? It's exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
I felt like I was responsible for helping to pay for 15, 20, 28 people when I started getting squeaky bum time. 28 people's mortgages, 28 people's rent, even though it's down to them, because it's they've got to perform for me because I'm the boss, but at the same time, it's down to me to motivate them. And it's a weird feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, and I was probably more anxiety for them than me. I never kind of thought, if I don't make it work, I'll have my mortgage to pay, or I'll have my cars to pay, or kids, or it was more, I just wanted to keep growing the business, and more for them. So it's an unusual feeling when you get to that stage. So people wish to be there, or the people would get there and go, it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. So Purple Bricks you mentioned. So you moved into Purple Bricks. Tell us about that.
Again, Purple Bricks had been going 3 years at the time when I joined. So I was only unemployed for 2 weeks, because I had sold all the Newton Fallowell offices, and then 2 weeks later I ended up joining Purple Bricks. Had a few friends that had joined, and they were all raving about how good Purple Bricks was. I think at the time they were probably pretty much number 1 in the country after only 3 years. So I thought, this is okay, quite exciting. I'll give it a go for a year. That was the plan. I'll just give it a go just to get some experience under the belt. I thought, I've worked in corporate, I then ran my own franchises, hadn't done online, so let's get some experience. And I'll be honest, I absolutely loved it. The culture there was amazing. The parties were Christmas parties and conferences like you'd never seen. It was just, it was incredible. There's a lot of friends had joined, and it was good. Although you realise very quickly you had to do a lot to make money. It was a lot of listings. Like I'd be listing 20 houses a month.
And making how much?
$4,000, 4 or 5 grand.
And what,
for 20 houses.
What were you used to making for selling the same amount of houses in Newton Valley, for example?
Well, I was probably by the time I got really busy at Purple Bricks, I was probably working a lot harder at Purple Bricks than I was running 3 franchises, because everything was on your own. So you were having to do the compliance all on your own. You were doing the photos all on your own, typing adverts up of 20 properties. There wasn't sales negotiators. You couldn't delegate anything. You're handling all the offers yourself. So for doing probably 20 listings, so making 4 or 5 grand, I was probably making half the amount that I was at Newton Farm.
So how long did that last at Purple Bricks then?
Did that for 3-4 years.
And what made you stay for such a long time, considering you were making half the amount of money for double the amount of work by the sound of things?
Yeah, I just enjoyed the time, and luckily I had some money in the bank, obviously from selling the businesses, which made it a bit easier. So I just enjoyed it, and then after I think it was about 3 years, I kind of thought, look, I'm actually doing a lot of work here for the money. And thought, look, maybe it's time to, and I handed my notice in. So I handed my notice in at Purple Bricks, and my area director at the time said, look, don't hand your notice in. We don't want you to leave. We'll get you a area director role. And I said, okay, well, look, I'll give you 2 months. And if you don't find me a role for an area director role in 2 months, I'll leave, because, I don't want to be doing this anymore. They found me a role. So I ended up getting promoted to an area director. And the money obviously then, I'll be honest, pretty much doubles, trebles. So all of a sudden you get caught back into the enthusiasm of it all again. And I really liked the training aspect and helping all the team, and the idea of growing a team. And
that was your role at Purple Bricks as an area director, was to bring other agents in, train them, help them to list more houses.
Yeah, because obviously they're all self-employed. So coach them, motivate them, inspire them to get up in the mornings and go out. Try and find other self-employed agents. So quite a lot of synergy to EXP now. We're in teams. So, and do all the training yourself. So we'd have monthly meetings. We'd get them in. We'd do training, and try and get them to be better.
Yeah.
I probably enjoyed the training aspect more than actually going out on the road.
And how long did you do that for?
2 years.
Okay. And that was, when did that finish?
So that finished, I handed my notice in not December, just gone, the one before, so 18 months ago, I left.
Jumped straight into the EXP?
Yep.
And how did that come about? What was, you obviously loved your time at PB, had a really good role, well paid, looking after loads of people. How did you hear about EXP, and what was that, what enticed you to join, I suppose? Yeah, so
I suppose the reason why I kind of jumped ship, it was a good role. And even one of my friends kept laughing when I said I'm thinking about leaving. He was like, my God, you've got, at the time I was running the Midlands, so I had Birmingham and Leicester and Coventry and the whole Midlands. So it was 34 agents we were managing. So it was brilliant to have all of those people. They were some really, really good agents. It was great having them on board and training them. But, and this feels that I don't want to kind of hate digging people out, but I just felt I couldn't see where Purple Bricks was going. A lot of my managers were all not from in the industry, so it was a bit hard when you were trying to get your points across and they didn't really understand. And it got to the stage where they said I had a great area director. I don't mind saying his name, Dan Firth. Had a great area director, had a great relationship with him. He left, and then they told me they had a new area director coming in. And I said, please tell me he's got some estate agency experience, because at the time it's quite frustrating sometimes when you're dealing with people who haven't got the experience. And they kept saying, oh yeah, he's got loads of sales experience. He's got loads of sales experience, and I won't say where he came from, but because people will know who he is. But he had no sales experience in a estate agency, so he'd had lots of sales experience, but none in the estate agency. So when he was coming in, I thought, it's going to be really hard work again. So I just handed my notice in. And ironically, that person only lasted about 24 hours, and I think he handed his notice in. So I left, handed my notice in, and I was going to leave anyway then. I thought, look, I need a fresh start. So it was looking at EXP, it was looking at Keller Williams, it was looking at one of my friends had joined another estate agent, started his own. So I was looking around at a lot of them. And the difference between EXP and some of the others that I looked at was I just didn't want to keep working for what felt like another brand. I wanted to have my own name above the door again. And I remember meeting up in Leicester and sitting down with yourself maybe 2 years ago. And I said, there's only one thing I don't like about EXP. And I remember you go, oh, kind of caught off guard going, oh, what's that? Because I think it's, there's no faults. And I said, well, the only fault I could see is it just says EXP on a lot of the portals. And I wanted it to say Craig Stevens on the portals. And I said, you were like, well, you can have Craig Stevens on the board. So you can say Craig Stevens powered by EXP. But there is something coming that I can, it's not there yet, but there is something coming called Teams. And then you could probably have, your own brand everywhere else. And that was the bit that got me the most interested.
So that business growth beyond just being Craig Stevens, it was having that separate brand that kind of...
Yeah, so something you could grow.
Yeah.
Because, if you're putting as a self-employed agent, if you're going to be putting a lot of effort in, you're putting a lot of work in, and like I wanted, where could I see this going in 5 years? Is there any growth here, or am I always going to be, just Craig Stevens, and then there's going to be a limit, and I'm going to get stuck? The fact that there was going to be, look, you could grow, grow your own team. I love that idea, because obviously I'd done that at Newton & Fallowell, I'd done that at Purple Bricks, growing your own team, and I thought actually that'd be amazing to grow your own team and your own name.
So before we get into the EXP thing and how you started that up, because I'm fascinated by how you went from a ground zero start with EXP, which is still not known in amongst the public in the UK, right? It's not had, we've not had TV exposure or spent millions on TV. Before I get into all of that and how you started, I want to just dig into your mindset a little bit, because you've talked a lot about growth. So you've clearly got a growth mindset. Where does that come from?
Honestly, I don't know. I've just been involved in a lot of sales jobs that you're then motivated to try and be at the top. They've always had league tables. So I've always wanted to try and get to the top of a league table, whether it was as a holiday rep and selling the most packages, or whether it was at William H. Brown selling the most houses, or being the manager of the year, employee of the year, trying to get those league tables. And I suppose...
Why do you want to get to those top of those league tables? Is that an ego thing? Is that just inbuilt in Craig from being a child? Is it you got older siblings that used to beat you up? Where's that come from?
I don't know. I've always wanted to try and whatever you do, if you do something, I've always wanted to try and do it and be the best at it. If we wanted to play Monopoly today and I had no interest in Monopoly, if you beat me, I wouldn't be fussed. So I haven't got that mentality of I want to win at every single thing and I'll throw the Monopoly board in the air and be it. But if I'm interested in it, then I want to be the best at it. I remember years ago, my friends saying, look, let's go and start playing golf. And there was 4 of us and we went out playing golf and I lost. And I can remember getting back into my car fuming that I'd lost. And when, I think it was probably the next month or several weeks, went down the park, hitting balls, just practicing. So the next time we went, I won. And it's that, if you're doing something, you want to do it genuinely to the best of your ability. Who wants to do something and be half good at it? What's the point of doing it? You want to do it and you want to be the best.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. I mean, I'm useless at pool. I play pool every Wednesday, but I've accepted I'm useless at pool. And I don't practice. I don't put the work in, so I don't expect to be good at pool. But I reckon I'm pretty good at estate agency, so I want to win at that all the time. So, but what is your motivation though? Is that just a self thing, or is it your family? Is it provide for them?
It's weird because if I go back to school days, I never knew what I wanted to be at school, and there's probably a lot of people that will resonate with that have no idea when they're at school what they wanted to be. I remember probably going through maybe 5 or 10 different career paths, thinking in my head, well, I'll do this, then I'll do that, then I'll do that, and I really just didn't know what I wanted to do. And I remember even some of the teachers that I had saying to me, Craig, unless you start taking life seriously, you're not going to make anything of yourself. Because I was probably a daydreamer at school. I just didn't want to be at school. I wanted to get out and do something a bit more exciting. It didn't interest me. So there was kind of that I always had teachers kind of, oh, you're not going to make anything of yourself. And I thought, well, I bloody am, but I just don't know what it is yet. And luckily, my dad's been a great role model. He was an officer in the RAF. He's always done very well. And I remember always thinking, if I could do as well as he's done in life, I'd be happy. So I always had someone, my dad had done well in life. So I wanted to be as, I suppose you've got someone to look up to try and strive.
And you've
to
seen him work hard, I guess, because it sounds like you are a super hard worker. I mean, that's one of your key, strengths is you are all in. Yeah,
probably all in too much sometimes, but yeah, I do a lot of work because again, I always think whatever you put in behind the scenes, what people don't see, what you put in behind the scenes will reveal itself, out there to everyone else. And if you don't put the work in, it's just, it's not going to materialize. So putting that work in will pay dividends. And again, look, in sales, you want. I've always done commission jobs. Since I was 18 years old, I've done commission jobs. So the more you sell, the more hard work you put in, the better, the more money. And then obviously, when you start seeing a little bit of money, you just want a little bit more. So obviously, selling more and working a bit harder will hopefully give you a better life.
So you've talked a lot about money as well, actually. That's something I've noticed. Is that a big motivator for you? Yeah,
for me it is. And I think if anyone's in sales and they're not motivated by money, I don't know how far they're going to go in sales. There's a lot of customer service around it, and I think that's probably the bit that you need to concentrate on the most, because I used to say this to people: you can go out and chase sales, but you'll just be like a dog chasing its tail. You need to have an amazing customer service, an amazing reputation. You need to build that. And I'm a firm believer in life's all about relationships. And the better the relationships you can have with every single person around you, that business then will come to you. Because you're going to get tired very, very quickly if you just keep chasing sales. You're going to get exhausted. And you're going to get demoralized as well, because you're going to think you're not getting anywhere. Just chasing everything is going to get tiresome. So I think, yes, you want to work hard and chase things. First and foremost, whether you've got one client or 100 clients, if you make sure every single client you give the very best service to and treat like you would your family, they're gonna respect you. They're going to tell everyone how nice you are, recommend you to everyone. And then I said to get a business to take off, you need that business to come to you. And having that reputation, that customer service, and that ethos that every single person needs to be given the very best service you can, we'll get that business.
So it's interesting. I think money's a motivator for me, but I think by the sound we're quite similar actually talking to you right now. I think probably giving the client an experience is probably slightly more important to you, because you know that the money will flow off the back of that.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the key element for me, and it's kind of why I try to exist, is to give you the best experience of EXP, because I know that if you stick around, then I'm going to make money.
Yeah.
It's relationship. It's absolutely 100% relationships, and I've never really realised this until truly realised it until EXP came along, because the relationships I have with agents around the country now is probably what's helped to create, EXP and for agents to bring more agents in and all that kind of stuff. So but going back to my old days in, going to events, building relationships with other industry people, it's kind of what helped me sell my business in 2015. If it wasn't for those events and building relationships with industry figureheads, if you like, then that would never have happened. So building those relationships led to money, essentially. So I think I couldn't agree more. Very good point.
And it's not just your customers. I think it's got to be building relationships with everybody. Your suppliers in this industry, your conveyancers, your mortgage advisors, friends and family, other estate agents. That's a lot of people. Is it a buzzword in a estate agency whether, are people nice to other estate agents? Sometimes they criticise other estate agents. I think building a good relationship with other estate agents is also key.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So let's talk about your EXP business, and we're going to talk about teams. We're going to go into a bit of detail on teams, but just very, very quickly, we'll do 1 minute on this. How did you get your business off the ground? What were the key things? We're talking about hard work, but obviously in your early days, you talked about leafleting, and what were you doing? What did you do in this day and age, in 2022, whenever you started?
Yeah, so again, I kind of thought, well, look, I could, it doesn't matter how good of an estate agent you think you are. Now I'm on my own. I've not got a big brand behind me. I'm not in a big shop. Okay, how can I get people to call me? Because there might be a lot of people that will use Craig Stevens as an estate agent, but if they don't know I'm on my own as an estate agent, so yeah, how can I get that? So first thing I did was get a bit old-fashioned, but I got loads of leaflets. I ordered about 10,000 leaflets. On your early days at EXP, you're not getting hundreds of valuations come in because you're new. So I thought, look, I needed to be proactive. I wanted to do something every day. So I was dropping leaflets. I was going to speak to local businesses, and I started putting a lot on social media. Probably 2-3 posts a day on social media. Here's me dropping some leaflets. Here's me chatting to this local business. Here's me doing that. So every one of my friends and family and everybody I knew then I was an estate agent on my own.
And that was on Facebook, was it?
Facebook, yeah.
And so, how many friends have you got on Facebook?
Probably about 500 friends.
Okay, and they're all local in your local area?
Probably maybe 300 of them are.
Okay, and so you posted all that sort of stuff on your personal page?
Yeah, on my personal page. So I did it all on my personal page to start with. I created, though, a business page. So again, to try and get people because I didn't want the general public all looking through my personal pictures. You don't want them seeing you on a night out. I wanted to keep it separate. Yeah. So now I did create my own business page. I also created a Google page, which is really important. So again, if people search for me, Googled me, they could find Craig Stevens, the Charnwood estate agent. So I had my own Google page, Facebook page. I did open an Instagram. I'm not the best at Instagram. So I do dabble in Instagram, but it was mainly Facebook.
Okay. Any door knocking or letters or networking?
Letters. Went to a couple of networking events, mainly not to find customers, but to find people that I wanted a social media person. I wanted to find someone who could print my leaflets, get costs down. I wanted to start finding solicitors and everything that was probably associated. So I went to a lot of events, just chatted to a few people, but most of it was just hard work of dropping leaflets and social media on Facebook.
Excellent.
That's probably it.
What's your key piece of advice to anyone starting up? What would you say? Or one key piece of advice on Facebook, on social media? What's the one thing you should be doing?
One thing starting off, I'd say just be organised and have a bit of a plan. I also worked out, I wanted to work out how many valuations I needed. So, how much money I needed every single month, because obviously when I was leaving, then handing my notice in with Purple Ricks and then jumped to EXP, obviously then there's no salary coming in. I had my mortgage to pay, I had cars to pay, 2 young kids. So it was like, okay, how much money do I need? Okay, well, if I need this money, how am I going to get that? What's my average fee roughly going to be? How many sales do I need? How many valuations? So, I went through a bit of a plan to do that. And then just, went out and go, right, and this week I've got to find a listing.
Yeah.
And I bet if I said to everyone, look, if you don't find one listing today, you'll go bankrupt. You'll find one listing.
And I've said that so many times to people. If I gave you £5,000 to go and find a listing this week,
you'll find one today.
Which is what a listing's worth, £5,000. You find one.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll go bankrupt. It's carrot or stick, whatever motivates you.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of both. I'm a carrot and a stick kind of guy, but it's my old boss Dave used to say to me, this was back in '97, when £1,000 was a lot of money. And he'd say, because I'd say, I can't get hold of this person to get the feedback for the viewing or whatever it was. And Dave used to say to me, Adam, if I gave you £1,000, I guarantee you'd get hold of that person. And I'd go, no, I don't think I could. He goes, well, here's £1,000. He'd start writing the check out. Yeah. And of course, I'd get hold of that person straight away. Yeah, I'd find a way to get hold of them. He never paid me £1,000 to get hold of them. But there's a mindset. That's a mindset thing, isn't it? You have to get in that mindset.
Yeah.
I think
but going back, I remember when I was at William H. Brown, my manager at the time, I was on 10 sales and he said, get one more. And I remember he had a BMW, this going back a long time ago, BMW Z3 that James Bond had in one of his films. And he was like, if you get one more sale, and I had about 2 days, get one more sale, I will let you have my car for the day and you can go out. And I end up getting that sale. But had he not said that, would I have had a
No.
But he was like, he never gave me his keys, which I reminded him, never gave me, never test drove that car of his. But I think, everybody can do it, right? Everybody can do it. You've just got that mindset that when you are and you've got the whole day to yourself when you're on your own, there is a temptation to, do I just go to the shops? Do I go and buy some new shoes? Do I go golf? It's only an hour here or there. Do I watch Netflix? It's only an hour. But that only an hour kills your day.
Adds up, doesn't it?
Yeah,
definitely. Self-motivation is really important. So just quickly going back, I know we're going to get into the teams, I said I would, but I'm just I'm always intrigued about friends and family. So you go from, especially family, wife and close family, mums, dads, whatever, and you go from a really good role at Purple Bricks, really good salary, and to nothing. What did your friends and family, what did your wife say? Did you say, Craig, what are you doing? Did you have a full support? Or was
yeah, luckily I've got a great wife because she just lets me get on with it. I mean, luckily I've bought houses before and just told her, come home and said, we're moving house. She's like, oh, great, again, so she just lets me do it because she knows that, or trusts me, which is great. And like when I first met her, we had a house and I left, William H. Brown on a nice salary as a nice manager and go to an office that I said lost 70 grand that year. And she's thinking, Christ, if we lost 70 grand, we'd be a massive trouble. But you put the effort in, and if you put the effort in and you have that mindset of, if I don't find a listing, I've got no money. If I don't do this, I'm going to be in trouble. Then you'll do it. You'll find those listings. You'll find those sales. It will naturally happen. You've just got to have that motivation to kind of do it and be consistent.
You must have You must have some negativity, some friends or old people at PB saying, "What are you going to go to City XP for? That'll never work."
Luckily, I didn't have a lot more. I haven't got any really negative friends at kind of set, but I did have, even one of my best friends just kept laughing because he was like, Craig, you've got this really good job. A lot of people, if you said to some estate agents today, you could be the area director of Purple Bricks, this is how much salary you're on, this is how much commission you can make, you're managing 30 odd people, you've got this, you've got that. That would be a dream job to a lot of people. And it wasn't, if you'd asked me 5 years ago, that would have been my dream job. But time kind of, your priorities keep changing as you go along. And money, we talk about money is a big motivator. And weirdly enough, that area director job just didn't pay me enough money for what I wanted.
Are you making money now?
As an area director at Purple Bricks, what I was coming out with, I'll probably make 3 times that.
Wow. And that's inside
14 months.
Wow. Jesus, okay.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, we won't go into specifics on money, but 3 times more. I mean, you're working as hard, aren't you? I know you're working hard.
Yeah, we work non-stop. It's busy, but it's enjoyable. That's the thing. When people sometimes say to me, if you're doing X amount of hours a day, well, it doesn't feel like you're doing X. Sometimes it'll be the end of the day, and I'm like, crikey, I only thought it was lunchtime. Because you're enjoying it, and if you enjoy the job, you don't want it to kind of that day to end. You've got loads of stuff to do. And when it's yours and you're making the majority of the money rather than your boss making the majority of the money, you want to work harder because you can see the rewards that are coming in.
Yeah.
So it's a lot different being on your own to sitting in an office, working for big shareholders somewhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get on to this Teams thing, which the listeners, viewers may not know a huge amount about Teams. It's very American. Which is fine, but it works. It works in America, and so EXP works in America, and it works in the UK, as we've proven over the last 5 years. So we kind of figured that we could bring Teams to the UK as well. You qualified for a team, so in America they have like a qualification to be able to qualify to start a team.
Yeah.
Very, very similar. So we've done exactly the same in the UK. The qualifying numbers are slightly different, as they are with Icon and stuff like that. But you've decided to take up the option of having a team because you qualify, which is cap plus 20 transactions, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
Why have you taken on a team? What's been the main reasons for you?
So again, this is one of the reasons why I joined EXP. I liked the fact you had this option, and it was something that grabbed my attention. I wanted to do because eventually I wanted to, grow a team, grow something that just wasn't me working X amount of hours every single day. And to grow that team, to train other people, to get back to the jobs I had before. But also the ability to have something a bit more, to earn more money, because as you grow a team, you can earn more money. But also on your own, it's just Craig Stevens. And if I wanted to bring someone into the business, I don't know how many people always wanted them just to work for Craig Stevens. And I also thought if then they went out valuing houses and knocked on the door, they'd probably expect that person to be Craig Stevens. And I looked at it that 5 or 10 years down the line, do I keep wanting to be going out to 3 valuations a day, doing this? I wanted to start thinking more of in the future. And I thought Teams gives me that I can build up that team, that other people then are going out valuing houses. I'm helping them, I'm coaching them, but also I'm making money, let's be honest, off the back of those people. And so I can sit back a little bit and help all those people grow the business rather than me having to put all 100% in and just burn out.
Yeah. Access leverage, basically, isn't it? And that's why people create any business, isn't it? I guess if you were explaining what a team is to someone who didn't know what a team is, how would you explain it to them?
Are we allowed to talk about finance? But it's, look, if you have your own team, you can still have your name. You can still be Craig Stevens Estate Agents. I'm growing my team, and it's going to be called Riva Lily. And
so that's a complete separate brand. So that's Riva Lily powered by XP. Yep. Riva Lily is a brand in its own right.
So I thought I'd have my own brand rather than just Craig Stevens, because one, I thought it makes it look, it made it look separate from me, made it look a bit bigger rather than I was just then going to be on my own. I wanted to create something that equally you could build and in the future was worth something as well, rather than just Craig Stevens stepping out and everyone expecting Craig Stevens to be there. But if you're at EXP and you wanted to grow a team, the options are you've got something I suppose something in the future. You've got that brand, it's going to grow, everyone's going to know of it a little bit more than just your name, but also, as I said, you can bring people in. I thought having a brand name is probably easier to bring people in than just under my name. And I liked the idea of, growing something, being the number 1 estate agent in my village or my town, and having half a dozen people, however big or small you want to grow that business, but having people under you that you can, as I said, support, coach, inspire, that work for you, that you're growing that business, but also they are contributing to you, because there's only so much one person can do in a day. And equally, if I wanted to go on holiday, for example, which I've just booked the first holiday abroad with my family in 8 years, because I've been so busy, I've not booked any holidays. And also because I've been on my own all that time, I was worried that if I went on holiday, who would look after my business? Well, now with Teams, I've booked the first holiday abroad in 8 years, because now I've got a full-time sales negotiator. I've got people also then covering valuations. So when valuations viewings comes in, we're growing a team that those people can go out and I can delegate.
Why would you not just do that team outside of the XP? Why have you kept Riva? Why have you not just handed your notice in and gone, I'm going to go Riva Lily without, and just knock EXP out? Why would you not do that?
Yeah, look, there's that option there. I could just kind of open Riva Lily tomorrow and it doesn't have to say powered by EXP, but I think you'll just be lost on your own. And what I mean by lost on your own, I don't need necessarily the support of having to pick the phone up and speak to people, but it's a nice thing to have. It's a nice option to have. I love being part of EXP. I like the fact you're not at a Christmas party just on your own, just the 4 of you at a Christmas party. I've been to 2 EXP Christmas parties and I love seeing the awards and I love seeing the other people there. You're a network basically of big, successful, independent agents. And I love the option of being able to pick up the phone and speak to other people and I suppose be part of something bigger.
Yeah.
And so, although I've got the option to just open Riva Lily and have it nothing to do with EXP, I just wouldn't want to do that. I actually like being part of EXP. I like being part of the people. I like having that option, I said, to be surrounded by other like-minded individuals. And what it also does when we go on to motivation and league tables, it's also good because you get inspired by the other people there. If you're just on your own and you went into a normal high street today and they're on their own, how well do you know how do you know how well you're doing? Because you can't compare yourself to other people. But today I can compare myself to other great agents at EXP and I can see actually if I am doing well or if I'm not, and you can be inspired by the other people, so it drives you on to do even better.
Yeah, the power of the network. And so, and the other question I suppose is related to that. Why do you think people would join your? So each of those agents that join your team really are self-employed, aren't they? That's the plan. That's the grand plan around it. Why would they join your team at Riva Lilly and not just join EXP? Do you think what are the reasons? What are the pulls towards Riva Lilly?
Well, I suppose look, if someone's going to join and go on their own as a self-employed agent straight away today, I know from experience it's hard work to get going. Because how does someone know your name? As I said, how are you going to get those valuations come in, and who's going to motivate you every day on your own? Well, if you come in to work with us at Riva Lilly, all of a sudden you've got a very well known then brand already. That it will be once it changes. Well, I've got valuations coming in every single day, so you've got the back of a sales progressor to help you. So the whole point is, if someone comes in, we can help them to get those valuations. We can help them with their social media because we can help them with their leaflet designs, and we can help grow their business a lot quicker. So they haven't got to spend 6 months on social media pounding the streets from day one to try and get one instruction, when if they are leaflet dropping, they're already leaflet dropping a brand that's already well known. Those appointments will come in and hopefully their business really will just take off faster. And I'm hoping they'll get more business.
So you've already got a brand which is generating leads, which is generating recommendations, which has got a database, which if they were to go direct to EXP, they wouldn't have, would they? I mean, that's the point. Yeah. And so each of those agents is self-employed. So how do you make money for those self-employed agents? Just to explain. I mean, obviously I know, but explain that to the listeners.
Yeah. So we make 25% of whatever that fee is that they bring in. So someone's going to come in, they're going to be part of the Riva Lilly brand, they can go out on their valuations. I mean, yesterday alone we had 5 valuation requests come in, so you're not going to have that on your own. They can go out, we'll help them, we'll support them. They also have the help of back end because we have sales progressors already, so they can concentrate on just getting the front end business and going out and win business. And from the help and support that we give them, they get 25% of the fee that EXP get comes to ourselves. So that's how we're paid.
So going back to your Newton Fellowell example of having 12 staff and paying out 40 grand a month, this is how I see teams is, I had 20 staff, 28 staff, as I said earlier, and all I saw was money flowing out. Now with teams, and that's all you saw at Newton Fellowell, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Money flowing out. See ya, goodbye, it's out. And you summed it up perfectly when you said you bring on a member of staff and they cost you another 3 grand a month, and you've got to sell 2 more houses just to get a return on that investment. And you get 2 steps ahead and then you're 3 steps back, and because you have to employ another member of staff. And whereas with this model, in my opinion, looking at it and now seeing the light, I suppose, over the last 3 or 4 years, you're seeing money flowing in.
I think it's brilliant. And look, it's if someone's a successful self-employed estate agent today, I think it's an absolute no-brainer why you don't go down the route of looking at teams. It depends on how much you want to take on. There will be some people that go, look, I only want 3 instructions a month and that suits their lifestyle. I only want 5 instructions a month. That might suit their lifestyle. But if you're wanting to really go out and give it a blast and really be successful, it doesn't matter how good of an estate agent you are, there is only so much you can do on your own. There's only so many hours in the day. So actually, why don't you look at teams where you can grow the business, not just on your own, but as I said, the support of other self-employed estate agents, and you're helping them because they're getting help and support. And I've got one person who's joining the team, and he said to me, Craig, look, 100% of nothing is nothing. The money that he gets, although I get a percentage of it and a bigger percentage than if he was going on his own, he'll probably still make more money under our Riva Lilly brand than he would on his own at EXP, because he's going to hit the ground running straight away.
Yeah,
he's going to have a lot more support straight away.
I had a good phrase in America the other day. Get some good phrases from America. Would you rather have 90% of a grape or 10% of a watermelon? And that kind of struck a chord.
Yeah.
10% of a watermelon, please.
Yeah.
Good. And so essentially, from the way I look at it, is that I guess it to be de-risking the growth of your business.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what it is. If you look at going back to my previous role where I had 12 members of staff and it was costing me £40,000 a month to have that business. Now I probably still have exactly the same amount of listings, the same amount of sales as that business, but I don't have 40 grand's worth of outgoings coming in. or going out, should I say. I still get the same benefits that I had when I was in that previous role. Still have access to the portal, still have access to a CRM system, the help and support of EXP. So I still have all the same benefits, but I just don't have now 40 grand going out. That 40 grand sticks in my bank account rather than going elsewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm super excited about teams and the opportunity for agents that are not with EXP yet, but also agents that are currently with EXP, and super excited to see where you take teams. And I guess that's my last question: is where's Riva Lilly in 5 years' time?
Hopefully, we're the biggest estate agency in Leicestershire for self-employed. That's where we want to get to. So we want to encourage self-employed agents to come to us, to want to grow a business, because equally the help and support that we can give them, they're not just stuck just then with us. If they perform and they do well and they show the passion for the industry, then we can help them go and open their own team. So there is that possibility that person can then go and open and launch their own team and do what we're doing.
Why would you? I know I said that's my last question, but why would you encourage agents to do that?
Because we want to help and support them, because we want to grow a big network of independent estate agents. And if I can help and support someone else go to start their team, they'll have members come to them. They'll obviously make extra money, but because we're, I suppose, helping them and supporting them, we'll make money from their agents as well.
Because of the revenue share.
Because of the revenue share. So we have a financial benefit to help someone grow their own team, which is really rare. I don't know anywhere else you kind of get that, where someone could leave your business, go and set up another business, and instead of you frowning upon it, you actually support it and help someone go and create their own business. So if someone has got that entrepreneurial spirit and that they really want to do what you're doing, you don't have to see them as a competitor. You can see them as a colleague that, you go and help them launch their own team in the future.
And that is the unique thing about EXP. And in the same in America, team leaders are encouraging their team members to go off and create their own team within the EXP framework, because they're still going to earn money off of the revenue share. So final question, I promise. Do you think EXP can change the estate agency market in the UK?
I think it probably already has. I think it helped a few years ago with other brands launching and helping encouraging self-employed estate agency, and I think EXP has now just taken that to the next level. You can see with the growth of EXP how many people are joining EXP, how many people who start off maybe on a high street, learn the trade, get a couple of years under their belt, and then go, right, I actually want to make more money and I want something more, are coming to EXP, and just their lives are changing. I look at the sales and the pipelines that some of these agents have got, and they're incredible. They are making more money than they probably ever could have imagined. And the fact that they can do things like teams and grow their own business with the fact that there isn't a huge amount of, that 40 grand overheads going out, and the help and support to do that it's quite unique.
Good stuff. I often say, as you probably heard me say, that you cannot build a great estate agency without great estate agents, and Craig Stevens, you are a great estate agent. So
thank you very much
for coming along. Cheers.
That's right.